Hello, everyone. This is Tyler here. I wanted to do something kind of different that I have never done on my YouTube. I've wanted to do this for a very long time, but I've wanted to kind of dabble more into talking about music, discussing it, what have you. And I initially did a video kind of similar last year on TierMaker. This is a website. It's called TierMaker. There it is, right there. This website is basically where you can make your own tier list, and you can make a tier list for anything. It don't even have to be about music. A lot of people, they use it for like movie characters or sports teams or what have you. So I wanted to make this, and plus I've been trying to come up with some ideas for YouTube since we're under quarantine and that sort of thing. So it just makes this whole situation that we're going through a lot easier when I find something to do to keep me occupied for at least an hour or so, maybe. So this is going to be kind of an unfiltered video. I'm not going to edit this video. I'm not going to do anything to it or anything. I'm just going to just put it out there. There's really no need. And besides the fact I can't even get on iMovie because apparently my computer, where is it at? It's right here. I can't get on there because apparently I have to update my computer and it won't update. And I think it's supposed to update to like Catalina or something like that. I don't know. But anyways. So at any rate, we're going to do that. Can this go away, please? Ugh, just when it went away. Hello, are you going to go away? Go away. Move. Get out. Go on. Thank you. Okay. Ah! Where'd I go? Okay, there I am. Okay. So I guess I can't. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Sorry. I'm trying to bring all of this out. Um so let me see if I this is gonna be a minute, okay? Like we need to figure out what the frick to do, okay? Because whenever I click on the screen, it just float on top. There we go, float on top. Perfect. Okay, cool. We got it. All right. So yeah, I can't edit this, so this is gonna be completely unedited, but that's okay. Um, you can skim around if you want, blah blah blah. You know the drill. But anyways, so I'm going to take a look here at the wonderful um, discography of one of the biggest enigmas in pop music and alternative, whatever you want to call it, Kate Bush. Now, if you don't know anything about Kate Bush is a singer-songwriter. She is from the UK. I believe she is from Kent, I believe, which is not too far from London. If my research is correct and my recollection is correct, but yeah, she's from the UK, so she's British, of course. Her music is very, very interesting. It's very eclectic. It's not for everyone, I'll tell you that. She has had a few hits in her home country, and some other countries too, like Australia, and I think she's even had a couple of hits in Canada. But here in America, she's kind of got a cult following here. She never really took off here in America. I think that the biggest that she ever got in the States was when she released Hounds of Love, which is considered her magnum opus, and she had like a top 40 hit with Running Up That Hill. So that's the closest she ever got. But she did get a number one on the rock charts with a song on her album The Sensual World, and that was a single in 1990, I believe, and it was called Love and Anger, and it went number one on the rock charts in America, which is pretty awesome. But beyond that, she hasn't really ever had any sort of substantial success. EMI, which was her label at the time, when she first signed on, in 1975, I think. They really tried to market her heavily in America when her album The Kick Inside came out, which was her debut um, in 1978. And they tried to market her, um, but Wuthering Heights just did not have the success that it had in the UK, where it went number one. Um, and it really only just kind of done sort of modest to mediocre commercially in America. So they pretty much like pulled any support out in America um, for several years before um, there was some cult followings that were checking up on her, and I think it was her album The Dreaming. It ended up charting in the lower portions of the Billboard 200, and then they started to kind of look in further into um, the U.S., and they released the bulk of her albums that they didn't release initially here in America, which was Lionheart and Never Forever. So Kate Bush is just a really, I love her. I think she's great. I just discovered her music last summer, and um, I mean, I knew about her before. I've known about her for several years now. I just never really looked into her music, and the music that I heard, I just couldn't click with. I know a couple of years ago, I was dating somebody, and they recommended that I listen to Kate Bush, and they sent me the. By the way, if you hear any noise, I'm outside, so there's like cars moving and stuff. So sorry about that. Um, and he introduced me to Wuthering Heights. Let's just say I didn't like it when I first heard it. Because when Kate Bush first started making music, probably from The Kick Inside up until The Dreaming, uh, her voice, she used her higher register a lot, and a lot of times it could come off as very shrill, very high pitched in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it doesn't faze me anymore because I love it. And actually, The Kick Inside is probably one of my favorite albums. So that might be over here at wow, but yeah. But I remember hearing The Kick Inside, and I was just like, this ain't doing it for me, dog. But then rediscovering her a couple of years later, I I started out with Never Forever, and I really liked Never Forever a lot. I thought Never Forever was great. Um, it was probably like it was a very easily digestible album. The Cake Inside was nearly 45 minutes, and Never Forever was probably about 37, 38, give or take. So it was really easy for me to digest and to really take in everything. So I'm really glad that when I came back to Kate Bush, I started out with Never Forever. Um, and yeah, that just pretty much started it all again. And then I listened to Hounds of Love. Then I listened to The Kick Inside again. Really like The Kick Inside. Listened to the Sensual World, Lionheart, and then to The Dreaming, because The Dreaming is her most experimental. We'll get into that. We'll get into the specifics of each album as we progress. But so okay, let's take a look at the discography. It's a very small discography, uh, because she's one of those artists that just like she goes on these long, drawn out just pauses, and she's one of those artists that's like the older she gets, the more the gaps get bigger and bigger. Fiona Apple's one of those artists. Joni Mitchell is that kind of artist. Who else can I think of off the top of my head? Janet Jackson. She's done it before. I know she's done it just this last era. Unbreakable. She released that album in 2015, and that was her first album since 2008's Discipline. So it took 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 7 years to release another album. And she didn't initially do that. Like she was initially like putting out albums every 2 or between 2 to 4 years ish for the majority of her career. Then as she got older, there was more gaps. Now there's a 5-year gap, and her new album's coming out this year. Anyway, we're not talking about Janet Jackson today. We're talking about Kate Bush. So, all right. So we got. All right. I'm gonna do these in like show these off in chronological order. They are not in chronological order right now, so just bear with me here, okay? So just watch my cursor, okay? This is The Kick Inside. This is her first album, released in 1978. It has the singles Wuthering Heights and The Man with the Child in His Eyes. Two of my favorite Kate Bush songs, and the favorite of many people. And then her next album is Lionheart, released in 1978. That has such hits as Wow and Hammer Horror, which are also fantastic. Then we have Never Forever, which has the hits Babushka, yeah, yeah, and Army Dreamers, and Breathing, which Breathing is kind of very, very eerily accurate to what's going on right now with the world. Not quiet, of course, but some of the lyrics, they hit different. Now, I tweeted that on Twitter last week, and it got several hits, so that was kind of interesting. Okay, and then the next one is The Dreaming, which was released in 1982. This one didn't fare as much as her past albums, but it did have a couple of minor hits with There Goes the Tenor, or There Goes a Tenor, not The Tenor, and The Dreaming, which was the title track. Then we have the ubiquitous Hounds of Love with Running Up That Hill, Cloud Busting, title track Hounds of Love, The Big Sky, all those great tracks. And then we have the Sensual World, which has the title track Sensual World, Love and Anger, and This Woman's Work, which if you're an R&B fan, you might recognize that song was covered by Maxwell back in like the early 2000s. Then her next album is The Red Shoes, released in 1993. It has the hits Rubber Band Girl and Moments of Pleasure. And I think that was the only singles released, I think. There might have been more. There's probably more. And then we go 12 years later to Ariel, which was released in 2005, and it had the single King of the Mountain, which was a kind of comeback for Kate Bush. And then the next album is 50 Words for Snow, which didn't really solicit any hits, and it's a very long, drawn-out album. They did not put Director's Cut on here, and I'm assuming they didn't put that on there because it's mostly just a rehashing of some of her earlier stuff off the Red Shoes and the Sensual World. But it was released the same year as 50 Words for Snow in 2011. So I guess we're not going to count that. And it's a good thing because I have not listened to Director's Cut. That's the only Kate Bush album I have not listened to. So that works. Okay. So, I got something in my eye. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So, alright, let's do this. So, we have the rankings. Wow! Which is like God tier. Amazing, show-stopping, one-of-a-kind, completely innovative. Vomit on it, shit on it, whatever Lady Gaga said. Excelente, which is like, this is good, this is great, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. They put Bomb on here, but I'm just gonna say that that's like average. Okay, it's just kind of like meh. And then Guilty, 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 which I'm assuming is a reference to Waking the Witch of Hounds of Love. Guilty, guilty, guilty. You won't burn red, red roses. So yeah, that's basically just like, this is awful, god awful, which that's non-existent with Kate Bush. So we're just gonna put that out there. So there's not gonna be any that's gonna come up on here. So we're just gonna put that out there. Okay. So I guess I'll start with okay, and then work my way up, I guess. So the okay tier. We'll start off with 50 Words for Snow. This album I've only listened to a few times, and I don't really know how I feel about it. I can't really give a fair judgment of it because it's one of those albums that solicits multiple, and I mean multiple, listens. It's just, it doesn't have, there's no Wuthering Heights on here, there's no Running Up That Hill, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just an album that is, it's a slow-paced album. It's a really pretty album. I'll say that. It's a really pretty album, but it's just, at this point in time, I can't really vouch for it, and it's certainly not a go-to for me. This was actually the last Kate Bush album I listened to. It was 50 Words for Snow. It's just, it's okay. It's not, you know what, actually, I'll put it over here, because, like, this is kind of just average. Kate Bush's albums, they are really fascinating because, they can grow on you. You can listen to them multiple times and find something that you'll like after the 10th or 20th or 150th listen, which is really cool. And yeah, I feel like someday I might really love 50 Words for Snow, but right now I just kind of like, it's okay. It's no biggie. It's not anything too crazy. Okay. Is there anything else that I would consider bomb or excelente? Hmm. Let's go with the Red Shoes. Right here next to 50 Words for Snow. I like the Red Shoes a lot better than I do 50 Words. But I do have to say that this is a grower. Not as much of a grower as 50 Words for Snow, but it's still a grower nonetheless. It's unfortunately suffers with a very dated production style. It's kind of weird because in some places it sounds like it came out in 1993, and then in some places it sounds like it came out of 1990 or 1989 or late 80s-ish. Rubber Band Girl kind of sounds like it, and I think it was recorded in 1990, 91, somewhere around there. So it definitely has that early 90s, late 80s kind of production, if you can say. That's not necessarily a bad thing, and that's not something that is particularly, it's not a bad thing. I'll say that, because there's a lot of really good tracks on this album. Rubber Band Girl is amazing. Moments of Pleasure, ugh, so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. She wrote that song after her mother died, I think, and she pretty much dedicated it to her mom, lots of other people in her life in the past that passed away. I especially love that the last verse, she dedicates to her lights operator, Bill, which she also wrote a song on her Never Forever album called Blow Away. And that song was also for Bill. If you don't know anything about Bill, I don't know his last name, but I just know his name's Bill. He worked with the Lights on her Tour of Life tour, which was at this point her one and only tour before she go back on tour, like miraculously in 2014, which nobody saw coming at all. And we will probably never have that opportunity. And I hate myself for not being a freaking fan in 2014 because I would have gotten tickets all the way to freaking London or Liverpool to go see Kate Bush live because I know that's a once in a lifetime type of thing. But we're not going to get into those details. But anyways, he worked with the Lights and he unfortunately passed away. I think there was a really bad accident on one of the stages, and he passed away as a result. And the last verse of Moments of Pleasure, she says, what is it, hey there, Bill, could you turn the lights up on me, or something like that. And it's just really endearing that, it's sort of like a full circle moment in a lot of ways, especially since Blow Away is one of my favorite tracks on Never Forever. So yeah, it's just really cool. So that's that. What's some other songs on the Red Shoes? You know what? I'm gonna put this in okay, and then this is bomb. Okay, so like, I'm toying around with the tier just because, but anyways, so Red Shoes, the title track. That's a really good track, and Top of the City. I love Top of the City. It just sounds like the ultimate track to listen to in a sports car convertible with the top down in the summertime when the sun is setting. And just hearing Kate just be like, one more step to the top of the city. Ugh. It's so pretty. It's such a pretty song. And just whenever the chorus comes and just the vocals on that chorus, I can't even describe. You just gotta listen to it. It's just, anyways. But, okay. What's some other tracks that are on? You know what? We're just gonna go on my iTunes and see my lovely library here. What is this? Why? Ugh, I hate laptops sometimes. Let's see. Okay. And So Is Love. That's a it sounds so 90s, so incredibly 90s. But I still love it. It just the I don't know what the sound effect is that she used on the keyboard, but it's very similar to ones that they use for the Lion King. So it gives me that Lion King vibe, which is appropriate because it came out in 1993. Lion King came out in 94. So yeah, Song of Solomon is really pretty, and it catches you off guard because the chorus, she says, "Don't want your bullshit, yeah." Like you're just like, oh, Kate Bush said shit. Oh my god, like it's just a very odd thing to hear because Kate Bush, I'm sure she probably cusses, but it's just in her music, if she says anything beyond hell or damn or ass, then it's just kind of like, oh my god. You ever listen to artists and it's just like whenever they cuss for the first time, it's just like, what? That's what happened when I first heard I Did Something Bad by Taylor Swift off of her Reputation album. If a man talks shit, then I owe him nothing. I was like, girl, she finally said the dirty words. She's finally getting there. I'm waiting on the F-bomb, though. I'm waiting on it. But, anyways. So, yeah, that's the Red Shoes. It's a decent album. Second half is kind of... There's a kind of meh collaboration with Prince. And what's funny is that I love Prince. I love his stuff. but it's just like, this song just does not work well. It is Why Should I Love You, which was initially supposed to be a ballad, but then it was turned into this like funky, just very Princey song, and it's just like, this is Kate Bush, not Prince. If I wanted to listen to Prince from this era, I would listen to the Love Simple album or Diamonds and Pearls. Okay, thank you. Which I understand that like Prince was a big fan of Kate Bush. He absolutely adored Kate Bush. Loved her. Loved her. And I think Kate even liked his music in a sense. Of course, obviously, since they collaborated together. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they work together, but it's also just kind of like, it's just, it's not good. So that might be why it's in the middle. And it's just very dated sounding. Which, I mean, there's a lot of her albums, they sound kind of dated now. Sensual World, kind of. But there's a lot of moments where that doesn't sound dated, if that makes any sense. Okay. Moving on. Okay. We're going to go with Ariel being in the middle here. Okay, so Ariel, I love Ariel. I think it's a great album. But at times it does feel like it's very, very long. And it is a long album. It's one of her longest, along with 50 Words. It's just like, there's a lot of really great moments on it. It's another grower. Like her later albums, they're not as easily like, bam, I love this album. It's just that it doesn't have that element like The Kick Inside or Hounds of Love had. Her later albums, they're very slow burners. I feel like I will probably fall in love with Ariel eventually, though, and Ariel will probably become one of my favorites of hers, honestly, because there's a lot of moments on this album that are just absolutely fucking gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Joni is one of them. I like to pretend that song is about Joni Mitchell, but I know it's about Joan of Arc, because it cannot possibly be about Joni Mitchell. But, you know, I know Kate Bush is a fan. She likes Joni. You know, she was one of those artists, and see, the thing is that a lot of artists are like this when it comes to like Kate Bush and Joni Mitchell specifically. Maybe even Bjork in a sense with a lot of newer artists, but like they're just like those three artists that like every single person compares every single new girl that comes out to. You know, like if they play a guitar and they're singing their songs that they wrote themselves, and suddenly they're Joni Mitchell. If they're kind of weird and eccentric, then suddenly they're Bjork or Kate Bush, and it's just like they get so tired of it, and then they're just kind of like, stop fucking comparing me to these people. Thank you. Don't do that, please. I'm my own person. And like whenever they would interview her and ask her about Joni Mitchell, she was just kind of like, no, I wasn't listening to Joni Mitchell, even though we know that she was. But she just didn't like the comparisons. And for that, I understand. I understand it. But she has talked about Joni Mitchell in interviews before. So, I know there was one interview where she was talking about her voice changing. A lot of people were getting all pissy because her voice is changing. And it's like, hello, age is a thing. But she made the comparison of Joni Mitchell. And she was like, you know, when she first started out, she had this very melodic, high-pitched voice. And then as she got older, it got very husky and very low. You know, and I was like, oh, she made that comparison. I love it. I love it. But anyways, King of the Mountain is really good. There is a song, and I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm going to look on here. Mrs. Bartolozzi. Literally a song about a woman washing clothes in the washing machine. Fucking second track is Pie. The chorus is her literally singing the pi equation. You know, 3.14599127, whatever. She fucking sings that. Your faith could never. I'm just putting that out there. Just putting that out there. Ariel is just a really good album. It's just like the red shoes. It's a grower, but it doesn't sound dated. I do have to say that it does sound kind of 2000s-y, but like 2000s wasn't that long ago. I mean, the 90s wasn't that long ago either, but still. Um, but it is a really good album. I really like it. And there's another song, Nocturne. It's so serene and so beautiful. I want to watch the sunset over the beach to that song, honestly. It's fantastic. So, that's Ariel. She's over and bomb. Okay. Let's go with Lionheart next. Okay, so Lionheart. Let's talk about Lionheart. So, this album came out just about, I think, 6 or 8 months after the Kick Inside. This was a contractual agreement at its best. This was one of those classic attempts at the record label being like, you need to put an album out right now. So this was kind of like the Kick Inside leftovers. Even the Kick Inside leftovers are really good. Even the Kick Inside leftovers are really good. And on top of that, Kate had already written so many freaking songs. It is insane. So she had enough material to write another album, write maybe 10 albums already at the beginning of her career, which is amazing. But Lionheart is not a bad album. Actually, I would say it's one of her best. It's just the thing is that like you can tell that this was hasty. This was a very hasty driven album. And Kate herself, obviously, that was out of her comfort zone, clearly, and she didn't like it. She said before she doesn't like Lionheart. She's not a fan of it. Understandable. Um, because this wasn't particularly an album that she had really put her heart and soul into, like she did with like The Kick Inside or Never Forever. Um, so, but Lionheart has a lot of beautiful moments. Symphony on Blue. The more I think about sex, the better it gets. Ugh, so pretty. In Search of Peter Pan. When you wish upon a star. She sings that towards the end, and it's really cute. But it's also a really sad song. Really, not kind of. It's really sad. Really freaking sad. It's kind of about loss of innocence, really. And wow. Wow. Literally, wow. It's so good. It's so freaking good. I love WoW. It's one of my favorites. And Hammer Horror. Oh my god, Hammer Horror is just like classic Kate Bush at its finest. Oh my freaking gosh. I love it. What's some other tracks? Kashka from Baghdad. She invented gay culture with that song. I don't care. I don't care if she did. Don't argue with me on this. um what else? Oh England, my lion heart. It's so pretty. Um, Full House. Yeah, no one. That's a pretty song too. In a warm room, kind of reminds me of Ricky Lee Jones a little bit, just a little bit. And Ricky Lee Jones, actually, probably Ricky Lee Jones reminds me a little bit of Kate Bush in a sense because of that song. But I heard Ricky Lee Jones first before Kate Bush. But Ricky came out with her first album the next year in '79. So, but it still kind of reminds me of her stuff, especially like, or in a sense, it's also kind of very reminiscent of Laura Nyro because it's just basically her and her piano. So it's almost kind of got this New York Tinderberry-esque sound to it, and it's really pretty. I know I say that too much. It's gorgeous. It's an amazing song. I think that completes the bomb section. So now we're going to be getting into the classics territory. Okay, so excelente. Excelente. Let's go with this one. Never Forever. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this album, this was the one that really got me hooked into Kate Bush, was Never Forever. This is a fan-freaking-tastic album. It's amazing. There is a couple of moments where it's just kind of like, I could live without the song, you know? But, like, it is just a fantastic collection of songs. Just amazing. Like, even sort of the weak spots, they're livable. I can live with them. Like, Egypt. Egypt is kind of like, I mean, I honestly, here recently, I've grown to love Egypt, so that's kind of a lie. But, um, The Infant Kiss can be a little tad uncomfortable to listen to. Um, Even though it's based off of a book, I understand. But it is about pedophilia. Um, in a sense. In a sense. Because the novel is basically talking about the soul of somebody gets trapped inside of a kid, and the adult ends up falling in love with the kid and wants to, like, do things with the kid that's very adult. Let's just put it that way. And it's just a very weird song, but it's Kate Bush. I mean, Kate Bush is the ultimate weirdo. I love her to death. But, and people get so insulted and offended by the fact that I've called her a weirdo. I made this comment on YouTube on her Wow music video, and I was just like, I just really, like, appreciate the fact that there's so many weirdos in Britain. Like, it's just amazing. Like, we had y'all had David Bowie, freaking FKA Twigs, Kate, PJ Harvey. I mean, there's just so many great, just freaking weirdos, man. But they're cool weirdos. They're not like the weirdos that, like, you see on the side of the street, like, addicted to drugs or anything, like, and won't leave you alone. But, like, the weirdos that are just, like, they're very eccentric, artsy, and they're not afraid to, think outside the box and let the freak flag fly, Like, I say this in a very affectionate, endearing type of way. But Never Forever is a really, really good album. It's amazing. I love Never Forever. Babushka, Delius. Oh my god, Delius sounds like a grime song. It really does. It sounds like a grime song if she was making music in 1980. If she even existed in 1980, I should say. Blow Away. That's God bless that song. All We Ever Look For. I remember when I first heard All We Ever Look For, I thought it sounded like a song from Barney and Friends. And because it's just like the like, it just sounds very not juvenile, but it has a lot of childlike wonder in it. I love her early stuff because it wasn't childish, it wasn't immature. It had maturity to it, but it just, like, Kate had a lot of childlike wonder in her songs in the early days, and it's really gorgeous. And I can see why Bjork loves Kate Bush the way she does, because Bjork she's so childlike in a lot of ways. And Kate Bush's early stuff especially just had that sort of childlike charm to it. It was almost kind of like, there, like, innocence has been lost, but it's kind of like you found it in droves, kind of like it's that sort of thing. It's just really, really cute and really gorgeous and beautiful. I'm trying to think of some other songs. Oh, The Wedding List. I'll put him on the wedding list. It's basically about, like, a guy. It's like a mobster that kills the girl's fiance, and so she's kind of like, to get revenge on him. She, like, does this, like, fake wedding, and he ends up coming to the wedding, and she shoots and kills him. Like, he did her soon to be husband. It's amazing, and then she ends up killing herself. After she shot the guy, she committed suicide. Like, wow. Like, it's just kind of like, there's elements where it's just like, Delius, all we ever look for, child at heart. And then it's like, bam, I'll put him on the fucking wedding list. Grand Theft Auto style, bitch. Like, like Kate Bush goes gangster here. Shit, like, damn, no wonder Tupac Shakur loved her. Her mind. But, Army Dreamers is so tragically beautiful. And Breathing is really good too. If you try not to apply the current pandemic to the situation, which I can't. It's hard. But at any rate. Um, anyways. Okay, let's move on, because this is getting really long and drawn out, as I predicted. Okay. We're gonna go with the Sensual World next. So, like, I need to fix the ranking of this, because I'm gonna go with this, I think. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go with, well, they're tied, but I'm gonna put it right there. Okay, so the Sensual World is the last one in Excelente. I'm actually gonna put this one above Never Forever, because the Sensual World, oh my god, the title track is like the sexiest song I've ever heard in my entire freaking life. I'm dead ass. I'm not even joking. I can't even describe that album. It's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful album. And the fact that she released this after Hounds of Love, man, this is honestly, like, this is a great way to close off the 80s, her golden age. It's a fantastic way to close the golden age, for sure, because this was her last album before Red Shoes, and that pretty much signified the end of her golden era. Was like 1978 to 1989. That's the golden years for Kate Bush. But the Sensual World, like Love and Anger, The Fog. I have cried so many times to The Fog. It is insane. I love The Fog. It is so beautiful. The strings just kill me. Oh my god. The strings. And hearing her dad say, just put your feet down, child, because you're all grown up now. Like, it's just like, oh, no. Please don't do this to me, Kate. God. And this woman's work, man, like, she just comes in with the tearjerkers on this album. It's insane. What's some other songs on there? Reaching Out, Heads Were Dancing, which was basically about her friend going out on a date with this guy, and she found out, like, the next day that he was actually a Nazi, which is, wow, that's insane. But yeah. Let's see. What's some other tracks on that album? Let me look. Reaching Out, Deeper Understanding. Okay, listen, Kate Bush, she predicted our dependence of technology before it really, really took off. This is before the freaking internet exploded. The internet was still around, it was around in the 80s. It was. Look up videos and stuff about it, like CompuServe and all that. It was around in the 80s. It was just very basic in comparison to what it would come to be in the 90s, you know? That was when the internet really took off, was the 90s. That's, like, the beginning stages of the internet. But anyway, so, like, Deeper Understanding, she's basically talking about this person, and their life is just really miserable and sad and stuff, but they get on the computer and then they feel at peace. They feel really good. And, like, the chorus is basically the computer talking to the person, and it's like, hello, I know you're feeling tired. I bring you love and deeper understanding. And it's just kind of like, how did Kate Bush predict our dependency of technology in 1989? This is weird. Like, I just feel like Kate Bush is just, she's an alien, or she had a secret time machine piled up somewhere in that mansion in the woods that she's got, and she went to 20 freaking 19 or 20, and then came back to 1989 and wrote a song like that. Like, I don't know, but I mean, it's just like she predicted that. She predicted that, y'all. Like, y'all don't even know. Like, this is way before social media. This is way before smartphones, iPhones, Androids, whatever. And she wrote that. She did that. She did that for us. Um, let's see. Rockets. Oh my God, Rocket's Tale is so cool. I love that song. Never Be Mine is so freaking sad. I think really the only song that is kind of like I love it, but it's just like it's not something that I go to specifically, is probably Between a Man and a Woman and Walk Straight Down the Middle. I have gotten Walk Straight Down the Middle in my head though, especially the part where she's like like I love that part. Like, she just gets all that's basically like how to close off the album, is just like, hey, by the way, I'm still a fucking weirdo, okay? Like, get used to it. But yeah. Okay, so now we're in the top god tier. Wow. Okay. So, this is going to be a controversial opinion, but I'm going to pick Hounds of Love first. Okay. I might as well go ahead and put these all in here. We're gonna go ahead and do this. Okay. So this is my ranking. Okay. So we're gonna start off with, okay, wait a minute. This goes like this. Okay. So yeah. Controversial, I know, but Hounds of Love is gonna be the third in the God tier, and this is why. Okay, so Hounds of Love. There's nothing wrong with Hounds of Love, by the way. Nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing freaking wrong. It's just I love the dreaming and the kick inside. Just a little bit. Just a little bit more than Hounds of Love. Just a little bit. I'm gonna get a sip of drink real quick. I just realized I have a drink and I have been sitting here blabbing off. Like I need it, but Baja Blast. Anyways, Hounds of Love. I love the Hounds of Love. I think it's a beautiful album. I love the first side a little bit more than the second, but the ninth wave it's an adventure, man. It's an adventure. But there's not many tracks on the second side that has replay value for me. Like, as far as like me like going on Spotify, and like if I'm going out for a walk, or I'm going outside, or like I'm just casually listening to music without actually listening to the album, those aren't the ones that like I go to click and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna listen to and Dream the Sheep. Even though it's a gorgeous song, it's just like, it's not like something like Night of the Swallow or Kite or Moving. It doesn't have that sort of effect. It's the ninth wave is easily like, how do I make sense of this? It's easily digestible when you listen to the album as a whole, not when you listen to the songs separately, if that makes any sense. The first side is good for that. The first side is good for that. Like, I can listen to Running Up That Hill and Mother Stands for Comfort and The Big Sky by themselves, repeat. But it's like the ninth wave, it's like there's no songs on there that have that sort of like, I'm gonna listen to this specifically. It's, I'm gonna listen to the entirety of the ninth wave because it's meant to be digested in full, because that's where the concept is. But the ninth wave is really interesting, and I think that the premise of the story is that this girl ends up falling asleep in the sea, and she's like basically in danger and is possibly going to drown if she's not careful. And then you hear like some like crazy shit going on where it's like they're like trying to execute her and shit, but then there's like some rescue people coming to save her and stuff. Like, I feel like in a sense, like the stuff about like Waking the Witch is like her subconscious sort of going out of element. Maybe, I don't know. It's like a mirage type of thing. You will burn red, red roses. Huh. That song is intense. Like the voice on that song, it sounds like this. Like, I mean, it's so fucking creepy. Like, it's probably, I would say that one is on up there with Get Out of My House as the creepiest fucking Kate Bush song I've ever heard. Like, it's scary as shit. But I don't even think Get Out of My House is probably the creepiest, but that one is probably second in line. Waking the Witch. It's creepy as shit. But I love it. It's so dramatic. It's so theatrical. Like, I like, the theatrics, man, are just amazing. Amazing. Jigga Life is really good, too. I really love it when Kate's Celtic influence comes in, because, you know, she grew up listening to Irish folk music, and that influence pops up every now and then. It pops up on Hounds of Love, The Dreaming, Sensual World, a lot. Those are the 3 albums that I can think of off the top of my head that have that influence. I don't know if any of her other albums have that. I'm not completely sure. I don't think so. But those especially, like, there's like bagpipes and all that, and violins and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, Hounds of Love is fan-fucking-tastic. Running Up That Hill, oh my, Running Up That Hill, intense, such an intense song, but it's a good intense. Like, it makes you feel like you're on drugs. Like you just took a dab of acid and you heard that song. Like, I want to trip on acid one day to Hounds of Love. I really do. But that's an interesting experience. But anyways, yeah, it's just really good. The Big Sky. Big Sky. Oh, like, she just starts screaming and just goes hog wild. Like, I compare that song to this Vine, and I'm sure some of y'all will remember this Vine, but it was the one where the Ronald McDonald, he gets up on the counter at McDonald's and he's like, "Let me freaking lose it! Get out of your mind!" Like, that's her in The Big Sky. That's Kate Bush in The Big Sky. Like, she just freaking loses it. Okay, so let's go to The Kick Inside. The Kick Inside, this is my go-to Kate Bush album. Like, if I want to listen to Kate Bush, this is usually the one that I go to the most, is The Kick Inside, because The Man with the Child in His Eyes and Wuthering Heights, like, those are my most played tracks on Last to Film. No joke. I love Moving. I love L'amour. Looks something like you. And Room for the Life. They're just all such beautiful songs, and it just blows my mind that she was so young when she wrote them all. Like, she was a teenager when she wrote these. She wrote The Man with the Child in His Eyes when she was 13 freaking years old. Her mind. It's amazing. What else? The saxophone song. Strange Phenomena. Probably the best song I've ever heard about the menstrual cycle. I'm pretty sure it's about the menstrual cycle, or like menses and all that stuff, you know. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some other tracks that are on The Kick Inside. James and the Cold. Oh my god, James and the Cold Gun is so good. That's like truly where Bowie just comes out of her. That's a very Bowie driven song. It, like, if you want to hear David Bowie's influence on Kate Bush, look no further than James and the Cold Gun. Oh, to Be in Love, Feel It, Them Heavy People. Like, they're just, all these songs are so good. They're so good. I would say probably my least favorite out of all of those is probably Them Heavy People. But I still love it in a lot of ways. Rolling the ball, rolling the ball, rolling the ball to me. Sorry for my atrocious singing. Okay, let's go to the Dreaming now. This is the ultimate. Like, this is my go-to Kate Bush album. This is the ultimate Kate Bush experience for me, is Dreaming. Which, honestly, those three fit into that category, but the Dreaming is a little bit higher up for me. The Dreaming, definitely not the first Kate Bush album you should listen to if you haven't listened to Kate Bush. No way. Do not start with the Dreaming, period. Do not. Let that be one of the last Kate Bush albums you hear. You got to get acquainted to Kate Bush before you get into the Dreaming. Case closed. Because that album, it is ultimate weird. It is so insane and just so chaotic. But it's a great chaotic energy. But it's a chaotic energy nonetheless. And it will take you back. It will take you aback if you listen to that album first and you don't get acquainted to Kate Bush. I'm dead freaking serious. And there's nothing really on here that's like easily digestible at first listen. That's for sure. Oh yeah, Sat in Your Lap was also a single too. I think it was the highest single from the Dreaming. I'm pretty sure it was Sat in Your Lap. Because it came out a year prior to the Dreaming. So it came out in 81. Which was off the heels of Never Forever. Yeah, The Dreaming is just such a insane album. Like, you got There Goes a Tenor, Pull Out the Pen, and Suspended in Galfa. It's like bam, bam, bam. You got those three tracks all together. Like, those are my most played tracks off of this album, honestly. Besides The Dreaming. Like, if I want to listen to songs from The Dreaming, that's where it starts. There Goes a Tenor, and then I'll listen up to Leave It Open. Like, if I kind of want a small dosage of it. I mean, they're so good. Pull Out the Pen, Suspended in Galfa. I mean, this is ultimate Kate Bush. Ultimate Kate Bush. And then you have Night of the Swallow. That song is VV intense. Who is that coming up in my driveway? Is that my uncle? Probably. I believe it's my uncle. Or are they just turning around? I think they're just turning. Oh, no. They're coming in. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, Night of the Swallow. That's where some of the Celtic influence is in that track. All the Love. I think she wrote that when she was kind of isolating herself while she was recording the album, and towards the end there's a lot of answer machine messages from her friends, which is kind of a nice touch. I love hearing her friends say, like, hello, cheerio, bye-bye. Like, that's a terrible British accent, sorry. But, yeah. Houdini, oh my god, Houdini. Can we talk about Houdini? Like, that song is gorgeous. Yes, it is about the magician Houdini. It's more about his wife than it is Houdini himself. Because it's basically about, I think it's about a seance that his wife Rosabelle had after he died to get back in touch with him. Because he said that he was going to kind of manifest himself into another person after he died, to prove that he could talk, like he could communicate after his passing, which is where the album cover is based off of. It's based off of the lyric with the kiss, I pass the key and feel your tongue teasing and receiving. And that's actually Kate's boyfriend at the time. I think they were married for a period. Del Palmer. He also did a lot of bass work on a lot of Kate Bush albums. And his bass playing, in my opinion, is right up there with Jaco Pastorius. Like, he plays fretless bass just like Jaco, oh my god. Like, Jacko and Dale, please, I wish, before Jacko died, I wish that they had some sort of bass freaking showdown. Like in that one movie. I can't even think of the movie off the top of my head, but y'all know which one I'm talking about. The one with the banjo people. Anyways, carry on. Let's see. And then Get Out of My House. Oh my god, this is the track that people always talk about when they talk about the Dreaming, because it's the one that's the most jarring out of the entire album, because towards the end, like, Get Out of My House the concept is pretty much about the house as a human. Like, it portrays us as a house that needs to be taken care of, and when it's not being taken care of, then that's when it's going to go haywire and things are just going to go to shit. And that's basically what happens towards the end. And I know, now I don't mean that as in like it gets bad, it's terrible. No, like, it's like the emotions of the song, they just absolutely are just dismal towards the end, to the point where she starts like screaming like a donkey. It's insane. There's a narrative in that song somewhere, and it's hidden between the lines. But I think a lot of it has to do with like sex, consent, assault, that sort of thing. Um, it's one of the few tracks that she wrote based off of that narrative, I would say. Um, of course, there's plenty of songs that she's wrote about sex, of course, but like, I think this is the one where she really kind of indirectly talks about or sings about assault, consent, non-consensual type of things, whatever. Like, this is, it's a really interesting track, and that's specifically the reason why I say, like, that album, don't listen to it first. It's my favorite Kate Bush album. I love The Dreaming, and I will die for The Dreaming, but like, it's not the first Kate Bush album you should hear. Absolutely not. It's just so jarring, but in a amazing, gorgeous way. But you have to really understand Kate Bush as a person in order to understand The Dreaming. You really do. Otherwise, it's just going to go over your head, and you're going to be scared to death of it, and you will never touch it ever again. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, that's my tier list. Let's go ahead and save that. Oh my gosh. Okay. My Kate Bush tier list. Okay. There we go. My Kate. Why did it save? Oh, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We don't have to change it. It's fine. Anyways, yeah. So that's my ranking. I hope that that's good enough for y'all. So I'm gonna do another one of these soon. I'm gonna do a few other artists, specifically ones that I've listened to a good chunk of their discography. We might do Joni Mitchell. We might do Carly Simon. I definitely would love to do Carly Simon, because that one will have albums in every single one of these sections. Like, I'm not even joking. So, at any rate, that concludes my Kate Bush tier lists that I made. Yay! My computer is about to die. It's at 12%. Oh my god. But thank you for watching. If you watched this whole thing, I so greatly appreciate you. I really do. And I'm so glad that you got something out of this. To hear me talk about Kate Bush. And ramble. Please make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up. Y'all know the drill. Comment down below. Talk to me. What do y'all think about this list? Do you think there should be some changes? Like, do you think my opinions are different than yours? If they are, let me know. Like, I want to hear other people's viewpoints. Like, how you view Kate Bush's albums. Do you think that some of her albums that I kind of ranked low should be higher? Let me know. Let me know. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.